Hello everyone, welcome to This or That, a series where I compare different things like skills, morphs, Fang vs. Crazy Hairstyle vs. Outcast 90s Dad Look, and gear sets in The Elder Scrolls Online. When we look at the tooltip for Blade Cloak, there's a few things to note. The first being that it's a duration of 15 seconds, and that's quite a beefy and lengthy buff that you can get. So a lot of times, you'll see buffs that just last for 4 seconds or something, but in this game, 15 seconds is quite a long time. The cost at 2609 is also pretty low, so as long as we like the benefit, it's a pretty good skill so far. The tooltip reads, create a ring of floating razors around you, dealing 1,497 physical damage to all nearby enemies every 3 seconds for 15 seconds. In addition to that, you also gain major evasion, reducing the damage from area attacks by 25%. So one thing to note with this is that the damage that it does is going to scale with how much stamina you have. So in my case, I think I have 37,000 stamina with this current build. So depending on how much you have, this damage of 1,497 may increase or decrease just a little bit. The second thing to note here is that if you read the tooltip, it damages every 3 seconds for a total of 15 seconds. And doing basic math here, that means it's going to proc 5 times total throughout its duration. And we're not going to be, nobody's going to really use the skill for damage as much. It's going to be just a nice perk to the skill. The real thing that most people are going to be after is the major evasion. So when we look at the first morph, Quick Cloak, you gain everything that the base skill has, plus for a brief period of activation, or after activation, you gain major expedition, increasing your movement speed by 30% for 4 seconds. The second morph, Deadly Cloak, is basically the exact same as the base skill, but the damage over time aspect is increased. And in my case, I gained just a little bit over 500 damage, so with Deadly Cloak, it now sits at 2150 instead of 1,497. So it's a decent amount of damage. It's not going to kill somebody, but it will go towards that effect. Alrighty, so I wanted to bring in a little bit of context to Quick Cloak, or rather Blade Cloak, and its two morphs, Quick Cloak and Deadly Cloak. So I currently use Quick Cloak for my PvP build, or one of them. And it, if you remember from the tooltip, provides major expedition for 3 seconds, which increases your movement speed by 30%. And it may not look like a ton on the screen here, but when you're playing your character and you're in the heat of combat, you'll definitely notice a difference. It'll really help you get into combat and or out of it, I guess, if your situation is dire and bad and you need to get out. Or if you're, say, somebody's running away, like a Sork streaking away or something like that, it'll really help you chase him down. So it's an awesome skill for PvP. I used to use Deadly Cloak a lot for both PvP and PvE, but since last patch, since we got a lot of nerfs to movement speed, everybody used to use Swift Jewelry and Speed Pods and stuff like that. Now they no longer are that effective because it's such a short duration or reduced effectiveness of it in terms of the Swift Jewelry trait. Left everybody hungry for speed movement. And yeah, I mean the real advantage and what last patch enlightened a lot of people too is how effective speed is for PvP. If you haven't used it, you'll notice a huge difference in line of sighting people, as well as kind of just trying to get out of battle or into a fight quicker. A lot of those things, it doesn't sound like much, but it'll definitely add up to a huge survival boost in your character. Yeah, I mean, they're both good skills. I think Quick Cloak might be a little bit more of a favorite to most players in this patch. Yeah, I mean, you won't go wrong with either one. The real big thing here is the damage reduction of 25% by area effect attacks. And if you don't know very much about the game and you're just kind of getting into it, there's a lot more area effect attacks in this game than you realize. Things like jabs are area effect attack. Dawnbreaker is an area effect attack. There's a lot of skills from the Warden class as area effect. So yeah, there's quite a bit more than you probably realize in this game that's area effect. attacks and fall under that realm. A lot of people probably just think of it as something like a mage's or a sorcerer's liquid lightning or something like volley from the bowstring line. But it's not. It's not just static, sitting in place type attacks. It's dynamic things like Dawnbreaker and stuff. So do not underestimate how much damage reduction this will actually bring to your character. It's a huge boost to survivability. And real quick, I'll show you the difference between getting hit by an area effect attack with it on and with it off. So yeah, this guy, he's kind of a weak target, but it'll still kind of showcase the difference I'm talking about here. In a second, he'll do a conal attack, and he'll start off hitting me for 900 damage. Here we go. So there you go. See on the left side, 900. Like I said, he's kind of a weak target, so you won't see too much here, but it could very well mean the difference between surviving and dying in PvP if you get with the Dawnbreaker. So now popping on. We have to wait one more time, but it reduces it down to around 682. So it's not, in this case, not quite 25% damage reduction. It's very close, like 6 damage off or something, but I'm not sure what other mechanics are in play here. But there you go, 682. So there's quite a bit of damage reduction. Like I said, don't underestimate how much this is going to be bringing survivability to your character. It's a huge boost to it. It's an awesome skill. Both skills are good, but in this patch, well, really every patch, you're never going to use this as a damage skill. It's more about survivability. So Quick Cloak is definitely an awesome one, helping you kind of give another aspect to survivability, rather than just the 25% damage reduction, but also that movement speed, which allows you to line of sight things and get out of combat faster if you need to. So yeah, it's a great skill. So when it comes to my recommendations for the ability Quick Cloak and its 2 morphs, which one you should choose, for this patch anyway, Murkmire, I prefer Quick Cloak. The Major Expedition is such a boon in PvP. Now, for PvE, I don't know. There may be some builds that you have some extra spots where you might as well have some damage protection. I don't think if you did choose one, Deadly Cloak is going to be the better one there, most likely, because there's hardly any PvE context situations where you need that extra speed increase. Maybe in something like Veteran Master Marina, but most of the time, just having that little extra damage over time is going to add something to your DPS. So probably Deadly Cloak for PvE. But if you're like me, you like to do both. You obviously can only have one morph active at a time. I would choose Quick Cloak. Yeah, the movement speed is such a boon. It'll really help you line of sight targets. And if you haven't really kind of got that down yet, it seems a little advanced. It's going to really help you practice that. So it's going to be harder to practice line of sighting people when you're slower, obviously. So yeah, this is an awesome skill. I definitely recommend having it on your PvP loadout. Assuming you don't have other things that will keep you alive, some other defensive skills or some armor sets. But for me, I can run medium armor even and have Deadly Cloak going, and I'm pretty survivable. I don't have too much of a hard time surviving. So yeah, it's definitely the winner here.